Good evening. Welcome to our 191st edition here in the Issues Room. Today is October 10th, 2023, the day that Liberians in the millions went to the polls to cast their vote. Many Liberians from afar across the country went all over. There were thousands of precincts. We were able to cover a few here in Monserrato County. The Issues Room was out this morning uh, just to check out how the process was going. And so far, we are poised to report that there was no elections violence from the point that we covered up to at least past 6 o'clock this evening. As it's been, you can see how tired I look. It's been a long day for me. My voice is kind of rasp. I've been out there in the scorching sun. Folks told me I was turning pink. I was turning into a roasted shrimp because the sun today was really bright. We'd like to welcome you wherever you are to this 191st broadcast here, post elections. We're going to be looking at things that took place and how the counting is going on right now. As it is, the only feed that we're getting is from Spoon TV, Spoon Network, where they have teamed up with one of the newest radio stations in town called Punch FM, and they're bringing preliminary numbers from polling precincts, but very precisely from certain of the polling booth, I will call it, or the polling places within the precinct. So those numbers seem to be, credible as they reporting that it is NEC approved. So let's see what the numbers will say as the night goes on. Right now, it's 11, a little past 11 o'clock here in Monrovia, where we're broadcasting live from, meaning the main studio. We'll be joining our colleagues there in the U.S. It's expected that Moses Alphonso and Honorable Morris Dukuly, the former Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, will be joining us here tonight to just talk about all of the good things today regarding the elections, what they're seeing from the ends. There were many other media outlets covering this election, and is all over the place. So I'm sure there will be a lot of conversation around it. Maria Gardell, welcome, man and Sumo. Amma Freeman, as usual, you've done your best to follow us. Please share the link. We want to have a lot of folks here joining us here tonight. Idea High, Intonjisit Umbo, all the way in Australia. Good to see you again. You've been very, very committed to following the issues room, and we've done justice by continuing to recognize your viewership and all of you who have continued to join us. I'm sure tonight we'll be carrying a memory lane. I will check to see if Dr. Sumo sent something. We'll also be talking about what type of country is this. We haven't had the opportunity, so we might have a marathon broadcast. I have just had me the local energy drink called Rocks, the one that is says to be sold only in Liberia. I've just had that to kind of revitalize my energy because I've been sapped. But again, Fergie you also welcome. Let me join Moses Sandy out there. He's the one I see in studios. Moses, can you elevate a little bit? Welcome to 191st broadcast here in the Issues Room. Elections Day, the longer awaited D Day, October 10th, 2023. And what do you know so far from what you've seen? I'm sure you follow the Issues Room live feed from the different precincts, but I'm also optimistic that as a news buff, you were able to follow other platforms.
I would like to first begin by saying thank you to you for the hard work today because Volcano, when you were out there doing the podcast, doing the interview, talking to people, I was in bed. So when I woke up, you were already out there very busy. So that's highly commendable, the representation, and rather giving us on the spot getting the news from the newsmakers. That's commendable. So we should really commend you for all the effort, the time, the resources you put into making sure that the issues room, was able to do this to able to do this, live, broadcast from Monrovia. Well, like you said, I have been, listening to video podcasts. I've been watching videos, news outlets, and also reading as well. There's a lot happening. The reports are coming in gradually. This is something that Liberians waited for 6 years since 2017, and then we waited for 6 years. It became 1 month. It became a day, and today we are experiencing the much awaited event. And this is the elections that most people consider to be the most important. They call it consequential. So I saw this morning from some of the precincts that you visited. I was impressed with the turnout of Volcano. Maybe you want to talk about that a little bit.
Quite precisely. This has been the most record-setting elections in the history of our country. So a lot of people came to the polls. A lot of young people, first-time voters in particular. Um, we started out at the Cathedral Catholic High School, and I believe it's one of the precincts where 3,000s were the cap number, and so I didn't see much of any kind of scuffling. The process there seemed to be on, schedule, and then went by the YMCA where things were completely out of hand. They were giving numbers on, copybook sheet. Just tear the copybook sheet and write your little number, and then people couldn't even. There was no lines in the first place, and the
Okay.
videos were live, so people can go back and check them out. There were no lines, and apparently they had not had things under control and couldn't put things under control. Then we left from that precinct and went over to the Momolu Songu Memorial, Songu Kopo Memorial uh, School out there on the bypass, and it seemed to be very orderly. There were three lines at that precinct, and they were taking three people per line, making it nine in total, and they were taking in to vote. And then we went to GW Gibson, where I was privileged to speak with Eric Kennedy, who is one of the pool observers, pool watchers for the Association of Liberian Journalists. And for what we saw at the GW Gibson High School, the process seemed to be on course. It's just that many people said they were there for hours and hours and hours. Then we also went by in the district number 8 belt of Akaras Gray. We stopped at, I believe the name was Willie something, School Willie Mays something, just around the 12th Street area. That seemed to be on course. It's just that uh, some of the folks said that the entrance of the fence was too tight to contain the number of people and to give them free passage. That was one of the things we observed. Then I went by the Totman High, the famous William V.S. Totman High School, where we also went.
Volcano.
Go ahead.
I just want to take you back to District 8. I was listening to you when you said that,
On that evening,
yeah,
right?
this is Akawas Great, and the job said, no, 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 this place doesn't belong to Accra. But you were right because he's a incumbent,
Yeah,
But the
yeah.
guy, it rather sent a real strong message that, hey, man, Akawas Great. I don't know. I can't predict anything, but that guy was ready to tell me to say, no, 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 this place doesn't belong to him.
I think he thought I misspoke when I
Yeah.
said sounded like I have a portion of the place to be owned
But
by.
Akawas Great.
But I was,
Yeah.
and honestly, for a better word, we don't
Yeah.
know since we don't reside in Liberia. We've
No.
not voted over the years since we migrated to the US
Yeah.
in Liberian elections. So I don't know the different precincts. So when I asked which district is this, it resonated that
Well,
uh
account.
Carlos is in that area. Excuse me, quickly continue to talk. Let me just clear my throat.
yeah, so when you said that, and the gentleman was so adamant to say that, oh, no, 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 this place doesn't belong to Akaro's grade. And you kept educating him that, hey, he's the incumbent. I'm just saying that he's the incumbent, he's a representative. I know you guys are going to election, but it's like he didn't want to hear that. He did not want to hear the name Akaro's grade at all. But I like the way everything was, resolved because you were able to provide clarity on what you meant, and everything transitioned very well. I can just tell you, thank you
And one of the
for the
things I
great
asked,
job. Yeah.
so are we seeing that President Weah is not the president of that is
Yeah.
and Yeka Koluba is not the representative incumbent of District Number 10?
No, but then,
But
yeah,
I guess he thought I misspoke, and there's
yeah,
need for us to start to, you know,
educate, yeah.
identify these districts by the incumbent, and
Hmm.
it'll be a free for all.
Right.
And of course, he has a valid point. But yes, so in continuation of what I was saying, so I got to Tottenham High, and one of the ladies there said that she was opportune to vote. She had her walker, and
I
she
saw
said
it.
she got there to usher her in, so she didn't have to wait. Compared to the YMCA, where one of the elderly woman said there was no opportunity for the older people and the handicapped people to have a special, what you would consider consideration,
Benjamin, yeah.
yeah, consideration to be able to vote early and get out of there. So some precinct has some things in place, while other precincts rather didn't. And we
That's
left
true.
Tottenham High, and we swung by uh, district number 9, and that was in Single at the Calvary Baptist Church out there, I believe 17 or 18th Street area. And we also saw peace and stability at that center. There were few observers. One of the things that few of the centers we went to had European Union of observers. We had AU observers. We had other observers, but many of them were in the polling center. Now, the reason why I didn't venture to go in many of those polling centers was because just the way it was so structured and tight, the voters themselves had problems entering. So you think that people won't give me the chance to go in there, But I was able
Yeah,
to speak with folks who were coming from in there to tell us
yeah,
why it was taking so long.
yeah.
And we were, go ahead.
No, I mean, I just wanted to piggyback on what you were saying. It was really crowded. Like some of the individuals that you spoke to, and I heard some of them say they went as early as 12 o'clock, midnight. Can you imagine that? A lady said she has spent 4 hours. Someone said, they came 1 o'clock, and so that just showed the level of interest the people have in the process, and how serious they are about this election, because like we always say that this is do or die. This will make Liberia or take Liberia down the drain. And now the numbers have already started coming in. But I know before we get to the number, let me just pass. If you finish now, I can pass it on because you were saying something. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just giving us, a summary
Yeah.
of what we experienced today.
Hmm.
So we left the Calvary Baptist Church, and as we drove along, there were other polling centers we saw, but we didn't stop to all of them because it was time consuming. We also were considering data, and we wanted to be sure that we could cover as much within different parts of the city and its environs.
Yeah.
So along the way, we passed the Lane Middle School. It was a precinct. In fact, many of the schools were used as precincts and some of the churches. So
Yeah.
we got to R.C. Lawson Institute. When we got there, we were able to talk to some of the folks. Accordingly, that center did not start the voting process on time. According to one of the guys, he had taken his mattress there as early as 4 a.m.
In the
and
morning.
camped
Wow.
out there all morning. And so they assumed that they were the first there, and so they would be the first in line.
Mm-hmm.
But by 8:30, there was no line, there was no tape, there was nothing set up. The elections workers did not get there till 9 something. And by the time they set up, it was almost 10 o'clock or a little past 10. Then voting started. So a lot of folks were just cramped, and the sun just became so unbearably hot at that time. As early as 9:30, 10, the sun was already scorching. So a lot of folks had problems with the late start of the
Mm-hmm.
voting process, who should have been by 8 a.m. It didn't take place until later, almost 10 or a little past 10. Then we left that precinct at the ROC Lawson Institute, and we went by Nathan E. Gibson Memorial Academy. Of course, accordingly, that the Nathan E. Gibson Memorial Academy was one of the precincts has been used as a precinct rather over the years, but this time, Mr. Kamara, who I think had been the principal,
Okay.
is contesting as a representative. So they
Okay.
decided to move
Okay.
the the precinct from the school because he is a member
Yeah.
of the
Be a
school.
conflict of interest. Yeah.
Looking at it from that perspective,
Yeah.
move it to a little structure across the street from the school, and it
Okay.
was chaos. It was
Wow.
absolutely chaos because that area could not, contain the folks. Just the entrance point and the conversion of all these lines,
Mm-hmm.
it was grueling. But then we started to have signal problem. So I talked to my IT guy. He said that area has always been, the issue. And of
Okay.
course, yes, from experience. Then we went to GSA Road. We visited the Bible Faith Mission School, and at this precinct, things seemed to be orderly, but there they were using the alphabetical system where
Yeah.
people with certain letters within the last name
Yeah.
were, were given the opportunity to vote as per the last name. So they created lines in that
Based on
order.
that order. Yeah.
And so again, it was it was it
I
was
think that
peaceful.
was very orderly.
Yeah, it was
You
peaceful.
just go to where your last name. If you're V, you just go to the queue where all the V's are. Queue line of I. Yeah, that was great.
But it took several of the last names as
Hmm.
per the alphabet
Yeah.
and put them up. So
Yeah.
that center had, I believe, from W to Z because there were a
Okay.
lot of
Oh,
people
okay.
who
Okay.
fell in
Yeah.
those last letters. Then
Okay.
we left there and went to the largest precinct that we saw today, and that was on the GSA Road. The precinct uh, for district number 4, accordingly, district number 6, rather. Accordingly, the Reverend Innes is the one who is the incumbent, and one of the guys I spoke with later on said that 5,000 people registered at that precinct. And
Hmm.
so that's why that precinct was so large.
Yeah,
And
that's one of those things that we talked about, last week.
previously, yeah,
Yeah, registering more than needed. Yeah. Go
yeah.
ahead.
So some of the things they talked about there at that precinct was, the posting was placed on the wall, but when some people got there, they have taking the posting down. They're not sure whether it was the wind or people deliberately did that. And so some
Wow.
people had to go to scuffle in the debris near the dump pile just to look through to see if their names were there to be voted. And some of them were fortunate to find the names, and so they went, and stood in the lines. They also had problem with how slow the process was at that precinct. The other thing they talked about was lighting. They said it was, not well lit, and they were concerned that by dark, how, they were going to
Yeah.
handle the counting and all of that. And one of the things that we see from Spoon Network, I've been watching and following.
Mhm.
One of the guy who is at the precinct, he's sitting on the floor, a bare floor, and tallying, and somebody's shining flashlight over.
Flashlight, yeah.
The observers are sitting across the table observing, and he shows it to them before he lays it in the pile. So a lot of these things we're not sure what was some of the training. Another guy said, who has experience from 2011 and 2017, said that came with new people, and apparently these people do not have the kind of experience that was needed, and so they were probably precisely learning on the
On it,
job
yeah.
today. So
Yeah.
that was another issue.
Yeah, there were a couple of things that I think the NEC could have handled effectively prior to, like making sure that ballot papers were delivered to precincts on time. Because if they said their start of time was 8 o'clock and people showing up at 1 o'clock in the morning, midnight, camping at the precincts, and you come 10 o'clock, that's a complete disrespect, to those people. And to see our people, I mean, Volcano, that was just unbelievable that the people show up. Some of the places were so crowded. I said, wow, this is really, really chaotic, you know? And yet, I mean, Volcano, you told me how busy we are in this country. You're not going to stay in no queue for 5 hours just to vote. All the time when I go, to precincts here to vote, it doesn't even take me 30 minutes. Vote and just walk away. But people taking 5 hours. It tells you the level of interest. And one question that you kept asking them, which was very impressive, was that why did you come so early? Why do you think it's necessary that you cast your ballot? And these people were telling you. I heard a gentleman say, I came early because I want development. And I'm saying to myself, oh, I hope Volcano is not putting this guy into trouble. He said, I want development. That's why I came here. And when you hear somebody says that, and the other gentleman said, we just can't live like this. I'm saying to myself, something is really happening in this country that
But
people are just fed up with. Yeah.
in as much as you look at it,
Yeah.
in as much as President Weah has done some meaningful development, yet
Hmm.
Liberia is underdeveloped. I showed you Broad Street today,
Hmm.
the famous Broad Street, the most important Broad Street, the most important street in the country. You saw Broad Street,
Yeah. Real bad. Yeah.
bad off,
Yeah.
died everywhere, all over the place, right before the very finance ministry.
Hmm.
Yes, we need more development. We
Yeah.
need to move the capital city out there. So some people have envisioned that whoever they're going to vote for, based on the platform they've presented, may be the development agenda of the day. So
Yeah.
I don't think that people were afraid to talk about what
No, it
they,
was a
they
good question you asked, Volcano. It was.
why they went there to vote.
Hmm.
We were not concerned to know who they were voting for. We were
Absolutely.
just concerned that why are
Why
you
this interest? Yeah.
how how long has it taken for you to be here this long, and are you really going to be here until you vote? And people said yes. There was a lady who was there from 8 o'clock, did not vote till five something.
Wow.
From 8 o'clock till five something.
Oh
Another lady
man.
I tried to talk to, she told me, say, my son, I'm able to talk right now.
Amen.
I've been here forever, and I don't even have the breath to exchange with you.
The
All I
people were
want to do is
exhausted.
just, yes, I just want to go in there and do my thing and get out of here. So that's what we're talking about. But then quickly, as we wrap up on
Mhm.
the recap, so we left there, went to Kennedy High School. We presume that President Weah was voting in that area. Not confirmed, but one of the guys said that he voted across the road at the RLJ, the resort.
Yeah.
Apparently, around there, they had another precinct. We
Okay.
thought that it was the Kennedy High School, the
High
new
school.
high school that was built under the Ellens government
Hmm.
after the seal or the giveaway of the
Of Kennedy.
National Culture Center. Yeah.
Mm.
So when we got there, it was also orderly. In fact, one of the places there, one of the places, because you have the precinct and you have places that they'll say line this or place one, place two, place three.
Hmm.
So one of the places they have already completed, and you could see the ballots out there if you go back to the video. Um, but one interesting thing, Moses, these elections were non-violent.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was impressed with that. Yeah, non-violent.
what
I
one
did
of
not see anyone display.
one of the other things that I also observed, and I continue to emphasize, no one showed any any interest in any political institution. Everyone built camaraderie across those lines. People were leaning on each other. People were stuck on each other. People were resting on each other. Those who couldn't take it were allowed to put seat in the line and sit. And it was just that kind of camaraderie.
Okay.
I didn't see anyone with party paraphernalia, party uniform, party T-shirt. Everyone came in mufti, like we say in the military,
Yeah,
in
regular outfits. Yeah.
yeah, in regular outfits. No one were discussing politics on the line. People were just quiet. People just couldn't wait to get in the polling place to cast the ballot. And that is why, when you look at the optics, you can say that Liberians were resolved, irrespective of how long it took. Many of the folks wanted to be here today. They wanted to make their vote count, and a lot of people did. If I say that there wasn't one guy who came absolutely late and couldn't make the case, and he didn't have the opportunity, someone jokingly said to him, just wait for the runoff, you will have the opportunity. But by 6 p.m., I
Yeah.
went back to that precinct where there were more people, the 5,000 precinct,
Yeah.
and people were still outside. I was concerned whether those people were going to vote. So I hung around to see what would
Yeah.
have happened. By 6 o'clock, the pool workers were sent out at the end of each of those lines
Yeah.
to,
To
to,
stop others
to
from
stop
coming.
anyone else from coming.
Coming.
And
Yeah.
that guy was a victim, so he didn't get to cast
Oh
his
my
vote.
God.
But he
Okay.
was just the only anomaly in the
Yeah.
entire situation. Um, I didn't see anyone else, so it was good. He will learn from this, and in the future, he will probably do well by himself next time. There was another young man who came just around a minute to six, and the you know NEC worker wanted to stop the guy, and I had a little bit of argument with him, saying that, listen, I've been looking at the time. The guy got here just about
Yeah.
a minute. He said,
Hmm.
but PO said nobody should come on the line. But anyway, they were able to give that guy the opportunity
To
to
vote.
vote.
That was
Uh,
good.
so I left there, knowing that all of those folks who were outside,
Hmm.
uh, I was concerned about were going to cast the ballot. Another thing that I noticed, when they felt that they were running out of time and it was about 30 minutes to 6, they started putting folks in. The line started moving fast. So why it didn't happen all day and it had to be the last rush?
Yeah. That was poor planning on the part of the commission, but there's no perfect system. We continue to work on seeing improvement. I had the privilege of listening to a news conference that was hosted by the chair of the commission and other commissioners. She made reference to uh, a couple of things that happened, especially in Sino and Rivers. She said in Sino County, I think there was a flood. As a result, it became difficult for some of the precincts, electoral precincts to be reached. So, as a result of that, I think the commission has planned that voting in those precincts will be held either tomorrow or so, but they're making some arrangement regarding that. A similar situation was in Brewase, and I heard her say that there's a particular precinct, I think of 500 ballot papers. The papers, the electorate show up. They couldn't vote because I think there was rain, and the ballot papers that they sent out there, all the ballot papers were wet, and they wanted to dry them. So that was one of those glitches that really unfolded. Now, I also saw another video prior to coming to this podcast. I saw a gentleman at one of the precincts. There, he was in the polling center, and he was in fact a representative, reportedly a representative of the Unity Party. He was an observer, or a pool watcher or whatever. So he wanted to vote, and the law is that when you go to vote, I think they have to put an ink, right? The indelible ink
Yeah,
on
yeah,
your thumb,
yeah,
right?
yeah, somewhere here, right here.
Yeah, yeah.
For those of you
Okay.
watching, this is where
Yes.
most all of the folks who voted, this is
Yeah.
where they were putting the ink.
Mhm. And this gentleman refused. They pleaded with him. Uh, Even though he was representing the Unity Party, he said he wasn't doing that. And a commotion.
Did he
Huh?
disclose that he was representing the Unity Party?
That's what the reporter said.
Okay, they
There was a
reported.
reporter. Yeah, he spoke to uh, NEC officers that were there, and they said the guy, from the Unity Party, he caused a stir. He was, you know, putting up all these tantrum. He wanted to vote, and I said to myself, but why is it so difficult for some of our people to just follow the basic, you know, instructions? If the law is when you can't vote, we have to put the indelible ink on your finger to prevent you from going to another precinct to vote. Why can't you just do that when in fact you're representing your party? He went up and down, and he was never allowed to vote. I think that was a good decision by the elections officer. And then I don't know if you heard about this one. There was another precinct. I also saw another podcast. I think KMTV. There was this report with one of the observers saying that um, uh, 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 some 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 electors show up to vote when they enter the precinct, when they enter the polling centers. They were told that when they call their name and they check on the list, the voter roll, they notice that those people names are already being checked as that they have already voted. 7 persons at that particular precinct wanted to vote. They show up to vote, but the voter roll, because I think when you vote, they put a check mark. So the voter roll show that they are already voted. And this observer was saying that that was wrong. Those people were denied the right to vote, and there was a need for the NEC to investigate as to what actually happened. If what I heard is true, then that's troubling. I don't know if you heard of any other problem for Ghana.
Well, again, I was live out there, so I didn't have the opportunity to watch news or listen to news. But
Okay.
was that the one you posted that says something about violence uh, somewhere in district
Yeah,
number?
yeah. I think this was 7. Yeah, when people show up to vote, and they said they have already voted. 7 persons. Yeah, they didn't vote.
Okay, okay.
They were
So let me
denied
bring in,
appropriation.
quickly our
Yeah,
man Alphonso is back in
y-
studio.
yeah.
Again, if you're joining us, this is post elections
And Mr.
Liberia.
Dukuly supposed to be coming too. Yeah.
I don't see him yet. If he shows
Okay.
up
Yeah. Okay.
again, as I was saying, we're here live. This is post elections. We're covering the election day in Liberia. Today, Liberians went in the millions to vote for president, 20 candidates, and also for representatives and senators. So We encourage you to continue to share the link, invite others here as we analyze and go back and forth. Alfonso, you seem to be frozen. We're trying to get you in right
Oh,
now.
really? Am I?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you.
Alfonso, yeah, we can hear you. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Am I
Yeah.
first? Oh, what? Sorry, guys. Sorry, I joined you all late. I'm very sorry. Volcano, good to see you. I saw you on the field earlier today. I was kind of a little concerned about you, but
Yeah,
I bet
he
you
was really
finally
working
made
hard.
it home. In between four walls and things are going fine. Yes, I did see that story that you were referring to for the people whose names were reportedly already checked. Uh,
Yes.
and I was
Further,
wondering,
yeah.
well, they're there to vote. The check mark against their name is not the only thing that happens to indicate whether or not people voted. Did they dip their thumbs in the ink? Did they
Wh-
try to erase it, or did they actually vote or not vote? I think those were other validating factors that could have been used to determine something. But anyway, I hope that election commission investigates as well. My
Investigate.
Yeah, my concern with that is how many other places could that have happened?
No,
And let's say it happens in Glaro in River G County. How many will we even hear about it? Will people just
right.
walk away and shut their mouths? Let's say it
Yeah.
happens in Grand Crew County, the Oman gets upset and say, "I'm going home, man. This thing I waste of time. I don't understand." What happens. So these are really, really critical things that I hope people can follow up on and try to address. That's first of all that disenfranchisement,
Yeah.
and that's very serious.
I
Um,
think one of the things, quickly, let me add this. What we're seeing here now and the credibility we're throwing out here regarding nonviolence and all of that is just from what we see around here. We don't really know what has happened so far in the Leeward counties, in the places you're talking about, Alfonso. And in the coming days, in the coming hours, we should be knowing many of these things. So we can't just run with it and say that everything has been rosy,
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
how to throw that out here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Absolutely.
And
Mm.
and
One of the other things I got today, Sarah Moses, in fact,
yeah,
just to support and piggyback on some of what you're saying, is there's a district in Sino County. I don't know if you guys talk about it already. Jedepo district in Sino County. That voting might not have taken place there today. And the reason is that the election workers and the voting materials arrive at
yes.
6 p.m. on voting day.
Oh,
So
yeah.
and yeah, so they have to figure out whether the people vote tomorrow or some other day. I mean, it's insane. It really is.
I heard the chair of the commission say earlier today that there were some glitches in some of the
Yeah.
counties, and those people will be given the opportunity to exercise their political franchise. But like we always said, uh, if the commission had been prepared, some of these problems would have been resolved long time. And we talk about how difficult it is, to commute to rural Liberia, and for you to start
Mm-hmm.
sending all the voter roll with few days to election, ballot paper, few days to election. Obviously, something like this would have happened. The likelihood of being faced with such problem, was very high.
Mm-hmm.
But
It's
let
just
me
that we were lucky today. The weather was good, Volcano. I think we
yeah,
should
yeah,
we should be
but
grateful for that. The
but,
weather was
but,
very good.
but
Go
again,
ahead.
precisely in the areas that we can account for the weather, we don't know
Yeah,
what's happening in the Leeward counties. We don't know.
you're right.
Absolutely.
But,
We,
but the
we,
other thing,
we
Yeah, for
don't
the
know.
Monrovia and other areas, right?
I quickly
We
want
don't.
to add here, and I want to emphasize this quickly before you come in, Alfonso, is that when you think about giving people the opportunity to still vote, those
Yeah.
people may have walked from villages to come to
Yeah.
these precincts
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
not coming back. Some people will say,
Exactly.
like in the Liberian man way, to hell with the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm
Going back.
going nowhere. You're
You know,
absolutely right.
I saw a guy who came all the way from Johnsonville to vote on GSA Road
Oh
because
man.
apparently that's where he registered. But what if he didn't have the opportunity to vote, and he had to go back home tonight, and it's rescheduled. You know,
Yeah.
will he be
That's
willing to come? Another guy said he was there all day. He needed to go hustle for his family, but he
Yeah.
sacrificed this day. And if he didn't get to vote, well, what would he tell his wife and children that Papa
you
went to
waste all that time.
he
Yeah.
come back with nothing, in the bag. So it's not just giving the opportunity to go
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
it's whether people will really
Yep.
have the resolve, the desire to want to go back to cast a ballot. If you had gone somewhere to vote at 8 o'clock and the ballot did not get there till the end of the day at 6 o'clock, that means you were hanging around being optimistic that you was a state cast your vote.
Yes.
You spend the entire
The
day.
entire day wasted.
I mean, and then they're telling you to come back tomorrow or next week when you
Mm.
had to cross the Kavala River to
Yep.
come all the way,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
happening.
Yeah. And whatever you are working. So
Yeah.
who's gonna pay for that extra one day that you will have to go back again to go for? Become a man, some of the guys work.
Yeah.
Whatever little money they work for, they are answerable to their bosses. So when the bosses say, "Man, we gave you yesterday
But not even just
and today,"
people who
yeah,
work. How about the people who are farming? How
yeah,
about the
people
people
who
who
are farming will do their own businesses, and
yeah, leave the rice to the birds today?
Yeah.
yeah,
To vote. So I think the chairperson of the election commission referring to these problems as glitches. It's very unfortunate. It's not taking all of these factors into consideration. These are not glitches. These are consequences of being
whole
unprepared.
planning, yeah,
These are
whole planning.
consequences of poor planning. They are not glitches. And these are things that impact people's lives and people's vote, which is their power. People want schools in their communities. They want clinics. They want leaders who will advocate for them. When you when you create environments and situations that make them not able to vote, you're basically taking that power and that decision away from them. It's not a glitch, Miss Chairperson of the Election Commission. That's very disingenuous. I've also heard report from NIMBA. Similarly, people stood in line and got tired and just went home because the lines were too long and they couldn't stay. You know, um, I also heard that in Vahon Lofa County, the lights went off. Whatever solar, whatever they were using went off. So they couldn't continue the process, they couldn't continue counting. Was it just turned off deliberately? Was there a backup or
Right.
whatever the situations are? It's just a consequence of either poor planning or ineptitude or both, and that's what we're facing today. It's unfortunate. I hope on a larger scale, on a general level, the elections went well, and that we will get the results, and the mandate of the Liberian people will prevail. But these problems could have been avoided.
Yeah, and since you made mention of results, prior to coming here, I'm sure Volcano may have also listened to some preliminary results. Spooning out there, provisional results. From polling centers and precincts, and from what I've been hearing, it appears that the top candidates come from the UP, the CDC, and the CPP. Uh, I was a little bit shocked that Mr. Cummins, who having to represent the CPP at a particular precinct, he got 14 votes. I mean, Volcano, we're talking about presidential race.
Yeah, but this is not the entire precinct. This
No,
is
it's
just the
yeah,
places.
just a polling center. I mean,
Let me break it down. Let me break it down so
yeah,
you
go
understand.
ahead. Mhm.
I went there and I saw it firsthand. So you
Okay.
have precinct, then you have certain areas where
Yeah,
the people
to the
go to.
polling centers. Yeah,
So the polling places in those precincts,
precincts. Yeah.
yeah, maybe three or four or five or six,
Hmm.
and then once they get in there, then they vote. So when they tallies or the tally of the votes are coming in, and
Mhm.
what's is presenting. They want to be very very precise with respect to what they put out. So they'll
Yeah.
call the precinct, and then they will identify the
Yeah,
place.
center.
For
Yeah.
instance, you say that uh, precinct 0523 in district number this in Monrovia County,
Yeah.
and this is place number 7, and then they'll give that tally. So the 14 may not be the overall for
Yeah, but a particular
county
center,
that
when the
is
guys announce, yeah.
from that precinct. But
Yeah.
it's just an example of what you're giving here. Alfonso,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah,
hearing something
it's
loud from your
it's
background.
There's
A lot of
echo from
yeah.
the background.
oh, you hearing something in my background? Okay, hold on. It might be there. Hold on. I
Yeah,
think the kids just turned something on. Let me go get them to turn it on.
and then even Councillor Gonglo, I'm sure, I don't know if you heard that. I think one of the polling centers, he got 5 votes.
Hmm, hmm.
Uh, I think another person got 3 votes somewhere. And one thing I noticed also from these provisional results, I see that the incumbent, Mr. Weir, and we're not trying to predict any outcome yet, but from these provisional reports emanating from SPOM, we noticed that from some of these areas, especially the race between he and the former Vice President Joseph Boakai, he appears to be struggling because sometimes, take for example, in Lofa, a particular polling center, he got 42 votes. The CDC, I mean, the UP got over 200 votes. In Bone County, Ome Boakai also came at top. RT Lawson, I think um, the Unity Party, at a particular polling center, I think got over 200 votes or so, and the CDC was also, trailing. And so we see a number of places where the incumbent appears not to be real. I mean, not appears not to be doing good, and that really raises a lot of concern, for Canada, because if you are incumbent, and it means that your work should speak for itself. But to
Well, let
see
us not,
you
let us not,
trailing,
let us not begin to pass judgment.
no, I'm
These
not
things,
passing judgment. I'm
yeah,
just
but these
being
numbers,
hypothetical.
listen,
Yeah, yeah,
these numbers are very low to say the least. We have
yeah,
not even entered the hundreds of thousands, needless to
yeah.
say the million.
Mhm.
From what we know so far, they have gathered the top three
Mm-hmm.
to top
Top
four.
three, yeah,
And but one of the things I thought you have mentioned, what I see here in the areas where the incumbent Mr. Weah has won, the numbers are very minute, very small,
yeah,
where he wins the UP. But the
yeah.
places where the UP wins him, there's a
Goes
vast
high, yeah.
disparity
Vast
in the numbers.
distinction, yeah, yeah. Mhm.
So I think that's where we want to point out. And again, just watching Spoon, a lot of folks thinks that, or rather think that these numbers are not real, but I don't
Yeah,
think that Spoon and Punch FM and the rest of these guys will just make up numbers and throw it out here to the people. I think they are doing the best to make sure that the numbers they're presenting are credible, because in some instances I will hear them say that this is the final count by the NEC.
by the NEC, yeah,
So again, you know, everyone has their opinion, but what we can say is maybe by tomorrow late evening, we know when the numbers have begun to enter into the thousands, if not
yeah.
to million. But as it is right now, no one should claim anything. People
No.
should continue
Mm-hmm.
to be optimistic in their own skin as to where they stand and be hopeful. Uh, at this point. No
Yes,
prediction
sir.
yet. No one should go running with this. I know some people saying, "Yeah, I'm about to get my job," but don't be too happy yet. you know.
No, nobody's getting job now. Nobody should start celebrating. But like you said,
Um, uh,
uh,
yeah, if I may
in
come
your
in, if I may
stronghold,
come in on that point,
I just wanted to
you're
complete
right.
my thoughts.
Please, sorry, please.
Yeah, yeah. No, quickly, I was just saying that if you are the incumbent and we're not predicting anything, yeah, like Volcano said, if you are winning with 3 votes and your opponent, your main opponent, and the difference between you and your main opponent is less than 10, that's a serious challenge right there. That's a serious challenge. It means that, you are up for a real good fight. And when you go in certain areas, your main opponent, when he whips you, the number is extremely high. So I think we
But,
should just take note
but
of that.
I also saw where President Weah, according to the count from Spoon, won
Yeah.
in refugee by more than 100.
Oh
By more
yeah.
than 100. So
Mhm.
again, it boils down to where
Yeah. Yeah.
things
Yeah.
are coming from. So I would say here, and I remain resolute. Let us not begin to predict anything because it is too early. There's a whole lot to count because they're not saying 500, they're not saying 1,000, they're not
Yeah.
saying 20,000, they're saying hundreds,
Yeah.
50, 70.
50,
You know,
75, 80, and so yeah.
the
Yeah,
numbers
that's
are infinitesimal to make any kind of prediction so far. Yeah, but you wanted to come in, Alfonso.
go ahead, Alfonso.
Alfonso,
What
you wanted to come in.
I agree
is
that
mute?
so far the
Yeah.
results that we have. Oh, am I muted?
No, go ahead. We're hearing
Am I
now.
off? We hearing me now? Sorry.
I
Yeah,
think,
no.
yeah.
First of all, I must agree with you all that the numbers that are coming so far are not sufficient for anybody to make any conclusions or any predictions. Although there seems to be a trend, but as you said, we need to also look at some places and some factors. For example, in Monrovia, I will look at certain places that are regarded as strongholds for certain candidates. So it will be important, like for the CDC, for example, I will look at West Point. I will look at Slip, about Clara Town.
And,
I will look at Little.
interestingly, from the count, CDC won in the Tottenham High area, which is district number 8, Akaras Grade.
Yeah,
I come back to say that, right? And then in
yeah,
West Point as
yeah,
well. So
yeah,
again, you're right. It depends
Yeah.
on those stronghold areas.
on 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 the candidates and
And
parties strongholds. We got to pay. Yeah,
let me quickly clarify when I say win, meaning one of the counts
Yeah,
that
one of the
a
yeah,
precinct.
mhm,
That doesn't mean he won
and
the
West
entire,
won
yeah.
12th
the
Street or he
entire
won
district.
number 8. I just
Mhm.
wanted to
Yeah,
make that clarification.
no, that is fine. He could have just won a polling place or two polling places. Because as you correctly said
In the
earlier,
entire
there is a
precinct.
yeah, there's a voting precinct, which is the general places
Is
in one
yes, with
precinct.
each
For example,
precinct.
you're using Tottenham High School. Tottenham High would be the precinct, voting precinct, but Tottenham High has many classrooms. So Tottenham
Yeah,
has
and those would
multiple
be
classrooms
polling
to be polling
centers. Yeah.
places. So a report from a polling place would just be one place where people voted, and the law says no more than 500 people should vote in a polling place. So it could be 500 people that vote in that one classroom. It could be less than 500 people that vote in that one classroom. So when you
Yeah.
hear 100 or 200, that's the reflection. But I wanted to go to the point that Moses was making. That, to be honest, in Monserrato, and even in Magili, the results that I've heard so far, there's no third party that's registered strongly.
No.
It's the Unity Party and the CDC that are really getting votes strongly. I hardly, whenever I heard Cummings and the CPP, it was 5 votes, 2 votes, 3 votes here and there. Unity Party was getting 100, 150, 200. CDC was getting 100, 150, 200. But CPP was getting 2 votes, 5 votes, 6 votes. So I
Yeah,
think the
I think some places like 20 votes or so, you know.
yeah. So I think the horse race really it will be between, as we've predicted long ago, will be between the Unity Party and the CDC, and third parties will really not register very strongly in these elections. That's the trend. Even though it's too early to tell, but that's the trend that the results are showing so far in Montserrat, especially. Um, we're talking about strongholds, right?
Hmm.
If comments can do, if the CPP can do well in Montserrat, I mean, where else can they do well? In Bassar?
He said
Well,
he's from Maryland. He said he's from Maryland.
I
well,
think even in Grand Bassa
so
County,
so so he's from Maryland. That is true. He's from Maryland. But here's the total number of registered voters in Maryland: 68,100. So let's say he wins all 68,100 in Maryland, which is unlikely. But let's say he gets all of that. What does that give you? Nothing really.
nothing.
In a
It's
field of two
negligible. It's
million plus,
negligible. Yeah.
two 2 million plus. So again, that. So CPP is really not registering well, and they might not do very well. And this might just be a race between the Unity Party and and CDC.
And
I
that
think,
means that means and Moses quickly
yeah,
that
go
means
ahead. Go
for
ahead.
any other political party behind, I think they're behind the fence right now. It almost appears from what we're seeing here that when a man said, "I bet you to cross the line," they will not cross the line, right? So be behind the line. So the only two men on the other side of the line are the ones that we're talking about. But one of the other thing I want to quickly mention here that even at these precincts, like you talked about, 500 people per polling place, there are some invalid votes.
Yep,
Hmm.
There are some
exactly.
folks who didn't have the opportunity to cast the ballot because they went there. It was so grueling. They went back, they came back, they went back, and when they finally made up their minds to come, they were late. So we will see that some of these numbers will change the overall trajectory, in these first rounds of the elections. I just wanted to make that point that
Yep,
not every one of those 2 million plus people will vote. Some have already been considered invalid votes, and
yep.
some folks just didn't get to make the 6 p.m. deadline to cast the votes.
And I would say that like we have always predicted and always said, and sometimes when we said that the CPP uh, was making no impact, people said we're being dismissive of Mr. Cummings. But in a serious presidential race, and coming with 5 votes, at a polling center, it just tells you, that you're really not making no traction. And we see consistency. We see at various polling centers that have been announced so far. I know these results are not official; they are provisional, but they just speak volume about the underperformance of Mr. Cummings so far as we are being able to see. So I'm not sure, and if this continues, I'm not sure whether Mr. Cummings will really be able to make any impact if there's a second round. I don't know. What you guys think?
Let
Again,
me make one.
I honestly don't want to start to predict anything, and I keep telling you, Moses, let's stay away from that. Let's leave it open. It's too early to even say that Mr. Comey is not going to be anywhere. I think honestly, what we should focus on is just discuss what we see, what we're hearing right now, and let the numbers come out. You will know by tomorrow evening. You will know by the coming days where any of the candidates stand truly. It's too early to predict anything. There can be
But,
a miracle.
but
There,
Michaela,
oh,
I
sorry.
beg you, now
Man,
to
my
cut
man
you off.
Volcano, stop it, man.
Volcano,
We can
in
speculate
Labrador,
and make for others
Volcano,
some people.
Volcano.
Uh,
Most of you hear in Liberian parlance, they say when your Christmas will be good, you will know from a while. The Eve, right?
from the
Man,
east.
you tell me,
Yeah.
Volcano, you're not running to be, a town chief. You're running to be president, getting 3 votes,
Just three votes
Thank
from
you. No, no,
getting
no,
for,
5 votes.
Moses. I think we
votes,
should
three
also
votes.
listen to what Volcano is saying.
Yeah, three votes from a place
It
where
might
you
just be
place.
at one polling place. Yeah.
But even I want, let's say, just a police
But the
center.
only, so let's leave comments now. The only four people are not here bring something here that tier one who have five comments where he
Yeah.
live 47 and whatever. I hear nothing about Clarence Moneyback. I hear nothing about Mustini
Uh,
Kamara. I've not heard
no, I
anything
heard
about
one precinct where Clary Moneyback got one vote, and I heard two precincts where Lucini got 5 votes each at two polling
okay.
places.
I haven't
And
heard
then
anything
No,
about Sarah Besto
no,
Yanati.
Bello,
no, no,
no,
no,
that
no,
name,
no,
no, that name
no.
is not on the radar. Oh,
Forget it.
So,
Forget
but
it.
no. Let's wait here because again, I continue to say, no matter
no,
what. So,
no, no, Volcano.
no. Hold on. If Sarah voted for herself, they will count her like one. Or they will count anything. Are
But
you telling me?
Moses, but
Commission
Moses,
Hall?
let's wait. Volcano is
Yeah.
right. Let's wait.
No, the man's right. The man's right. But you know what? uh, sometimes when you are dealing with large number, and you see all the other people at the bottom, and the numbers are considered negligible, you don't even bother to, you say,
Waste
look,
of
these
time.
other people will get put in the order.
Mathematically,
Among others,
mathematic,
they will be among
you,
others. So
mathematically, you just eliminate them. That's
yeah,
what
eliminate them.
mathematicians
They
will
fall
do.
in
You
our
eliminate.
basket of the orders.
It's
So Sarah
insignificant. It's an
Beslow,
it's an
uh,
insignificant factor. You take it out. Yeah.
Sarah Beslow, Sheikh Kuyate, Simeon.
Give me
Zero
three months.
feedback.
Yeah, all the
Oh
other
my
people they say, I just put it in our basket of the orders.
God. Moses, you better be careful. Somehow, listen. Yeah, where the beginning? What his name?
Ooh,
Pastor Sonny or Lofa something. The boy, listen.
No, you talking about River says pro.
River
no,
Pro, we got River
but
Pro.
comments, man.
Yeah, River Pro
But
deal with
comments is
it.
still
Tony
trying, though.
Brooks, Tony Brooks is predicting that Sarjosa is going to win the senatorial position.
You see?
I
Wow.
I want to agree with Tony and Brooks.
Yeah,
I
I
really
think I think so
yeah.
far he's Mr. Joseph or Senator Joseph. I would want to agree. I think from what I see, he has, unfortunately, the kind of Liberia we have. He has the resources. He has literally, used ill-gotten wealth
But let me come
uh,
in quick
to
here.
make a way through. Yeah.
Since we're talking politics, I was begin hearing Costa, man. The man said he was going to take the man all of it. Then he leave from there again. He said he won't be vice
One
president.
BVV.
So it looked like nobody really could put Sir Joseph to a test if that's what you know.
No, women pay try, but I don't
That was
know.
the that
Uh, I,
was
I don't think they have announced any result. Like, are they announcing
No,
legislative results
right,
now?
right
So
now
in a way, let's not go
it's,
into that,
mhm.
because we have not
no
heard the numbers.
no. A few have been announced. One
Some
or
of
two
the
yesterday. Yes,
legislators.
yes.
Oh, okay, that's good.
But Volcano makes an important point. I
Hmm,
think what happened was what his name Costa.
Mr.
The
Costa,
Unity
yeah,
Party alliance was waiting for Costa to take on to be the candidate for Monserrato for the senatorial election.
yeah.
When the situation happened because he wanted to be VP and he didn't get it,
Hmm.
and he got upset and they didn't want to run there. That's how they put what his name um,
Wilmot.
Wilma Pay in a very hurry. But
Okay,
Wilma Pay was not ready. He was not the candidate. The candidate was
okay.
supposed to be what this young man. So that is why Unity Party. I think Sir Joseph will win it. I don't think Unity Party put forth a good candidate for Montserrat, and that was not the intended candidate. As a matter of fact, that's my understanding.
So since you guys mentioned Mr. Costa, I would like to ask, in the wake of what he said about Mr. Boakai and how um, his rating, how his rating has declined in recent time politically. Do you think his political career is now over?
I think it's too early to predict that. This is
Mm,
Liberia. I mean,
yeah.
did he
But let's
hurt? Did he?
and Alfonso, let me say it quickly. Did he have
Mm,
a political career in the first place?
Well,
Or
I
thank
mean,
you.
this is
coming?
where, yeah, go
Hold on.
ahead. Mhm,
I'm just saying the premise. Did he
mhm,
have a political career in the first place? None whatsoever. He was just, I'm coming. He was
mhm,
just a
yeah,
talk
yeah.
show spokesperson who talks about politics or
Mhm,
political issues. He's never held any position politically. He
okay.
contested before as a representative and
And
he lost in this,
impact. Yeah.
right?
Mhm,
So I wouldn't say a political career. I would call it political aspiration.
okay. I
My position.
agree. I agree. I give it to you on that. So can we then say that his aspiration has diminished?
Well, in my opinion, I've
Yes.
talked to a few people off the record
Mhm.
here around Monrovia. I
Mm.
was on Randall Street the other day, and one of the guys he said, "I can beat Henry Costa right now. Costa ain't nothing here now in Liberia." That's what he said.
Okay.
He said, "If you go around here, you do any sampling of Henry Costa, like the words,
Yeah.
the issue of the consequential,
Yeah.
people are saying he's inconsequential at this
Means
point,
he's of no
you
relevance
know,
right now,
politically.
right?
And I think he needs to stay in his lane.
In his lane. But he has been making some attempts to come, out of the closet. Volcano, are you frozen? He's
Yeah,
frozen.
I'm hearing
Yeah.
you, but I think for kind of
Yeah, he's frozen. So while he tried to take care of that, I know Henry Costa has been trying to, make a comeback. Yesterday he had a podcast. I'm sure he condemned what happened to partisans of ACO. He tried to make a comeback, but
uh
many are saying that for now, I don't think he's a marketable goose politically.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
I agree. He
Hmm.
hurt himself. He's hurt his chances. Though at least his chances were hurt by the incident, by the situation that happened. Can he resurrect himself? Perhaps. I mean, in politics, you don't. I wouldn't put anything past any situation in life. Maybe he goes back and decides to run for a representative in a place he thinks he can win, and he actually wins there. He rehabilitates his image and comes back and goes for something bigger. It's possible. I've seen politicians who've been down and have risen through a number of strategies and stuff. Has he hurt himself currently? Yes, he did, and it'll be a difficult uh, climb up from where he is.
Let me just quickly reiterate if you're just joining us here, you're in the Issues Room live. Please share our feed here tonight. We like to see the numbers go up rather. Liberia, good to see you in the house. Tony and Brooks, Miento, Nino Brown, good to see you in the house. Flomo Livingstone, Emmanuel Jackson. It's always a pleasure, having you guys join us here. Iman Sumo Ferjim, you, Ahmad Freeman, uh, Adia Umo, uh, Maria Gardell. Thank you for coming here tonight. We are covering we've covered the elections, but it's post elections discussion here, and we're looking at some of the counts so far. The only place that we're receiving numbers from is coming from Spoon Network in collaboration with Punch FM, as it is right now. We have not gotten anything through the National Elections Commission yet. Hopefully, they will begin to post some of those numbers on their website. If the website has never been highly functional, I would think that this would be the opportunity for that website to get potent, because the Liberian people need to begin to look there for the actual number coming from the NEC to make comparison with what is coming from other networks. So again, welcome to all of you. Please share the link. Welcome, Volcano, Alfonso, Moses. We are here tonight discussing post-elections Liberia. We've covered the day, the D day October 10th has come and gone here in Liberia. I know for you guys who are out there in the States, you're still on the night side of October 10th, but we've now entered the AM, the morning side of October 11th. Just wanted to make that point. But gentlemen, this is where we are. Um, as it is right now. You can see with accounts coming in. One of the things we earlier talked about, just to share again, that the two main political institutions are the UP and the CDC. And so far, where Mr. Weah wins in those polling places within certain precincts, the numbers are very, very small.
Low.
And where
Yeah.
and the UP wins, uh, the number, there's a vast disparity. And that is what we've begin to see. But of course, he's won in certain places where the count's high, like we talked about, where his stronghold is. One of the places we talked about was River G, from one of the centers and precincts there. We also looked at Tottenham High, Akaras Grace District number 8, uh, area like West Point. Of course, when you put a small park or a stadium in the middle of zinc shacks, that in itself will give you.
you become
But
you become the father, eh?
so that's what is happening right now.
Yeah. You throw back or
Yeah.
right. Obvious. Yeah.
I think, guys, here's my prediction that I made early this morning at 6 a.m. I don't know if any of you saw it, but I made a prediction this morning.
Mhm.
And my prediction is that Joseph Boakai is likely to win in the first round with 50% plus one of that's required by law. I believe he will
Why
win.
and
Yes.
why?
Uh,
That you will be declared winner.
in the first round. That's my prediction. I think he will win 45% of the votes in Monserrato, and I think
Hmm.
Joshua will get 35%. Cummings
Yeah.
will get 15, and Gonglo will get 5.
And why you say so?
He-
Let
Um,
Moses
why
go.
I say so? Great, good question. Why I say so is a number of factors. Factor number one, Weah was elected in 2017 as the savior, the soccer player, the great star. That's all the Liberian people knew Weah for.
Yeah.
Weah had not led anything. Weah was not tested. Weah 6 years have exposed Weah, his failures and all of that. So I believe that Weah will lose about 10 to 15% of his 2017 numbers. Those numbers will be spread with the various political parties. But I believe that Boaka will get at least 10% of that 10 to 15% that Weah will lose. And Cummings
Okay.
will get a small percentage of it. So they will switch places. In 2017, we had got about 48% of the votes in Monserrato, and Boakai
Mhm.
got about 38, 35%. They will switch places. Boakai will take the first, which is 45 for the 8, and Weah will come second in Monserrato County. And Cummings and the other people, as I predicted, I hope if the
Mhm.
trend continues, will do very dismally in Montserrat, or very minimally, I should say.
Okay.
That then gives Boakai 308,669 votes in Monserrato County. Then I went to Magidi.
You said three. You mean 300,000?
300, yes,
Okay.
308,666. Yes.
Okay.
Then I go to Nimba and I gave Boakai 65% of the votes in Nimba. And here is why I say so.
Mhm.
Prince Johnson factor and the Jeremiah Kunfa. Prince Johnson, when he last ran, got 53% of the votes. Black Eye came second with 20% of the votes. We Are came third with 7% of the votes. Cummings came fourth with 2% or 3%. So I believe that with the black eye votes that he has there, the little support he has, with the Jeremiah Kuhn factor, and with the Prince Johnson factor, black eye is likely to win 65% of the votes in Nima. If that happens, that's 240,870. I predict that Gonglo will win 20% of the votes. That would be 48,171, and Weah will win 10%. I bumped Weah up from his 7% last time to 10% this time. So, I also believe that the turnout in Neymar will be 78%, not 100%. In fact, no place has 100%. So Neymar, then that's and those numbers are a spread of the 78%. In Lofa last time, Boaka won 80% of the votes. I believe he will remain at 80% of the vote this time. We are 6%, are bumping up to 10%, and I just gave Cummins 3% out of the thin air.
Yeah.
In Bond County, I gave Waka 45%, and I gave We are 30%. Why? The Bond County factor what's her name? Joa Howard
Wow.
Taylor.
You are
And
what
Joa
Taylor?
Howard Taylor were riding on Charles Taylor coattail. Joel Howard and Charles Taylor have been apart now for a while, and Joel Howard has said she's divorced Charles Taylor everything. So the Charles Taylor die-hard supporters are not going to be 100% with Joel. The second factor is that in the last election, the CDC beat Unity Party by just 10 percentage points in Bond County.
Bon.
Just 10 percentage points. Now, we have a number of factors at play. We have Senator Moy,
Yeah.
popular senator in Bong, supporting Boakai.
Hmm.
As a matter of fact, when Boakai came second, as I said, in Bong, so he's let's say he maintains that, and then he brings in the Moy factor, and he brings in other factors in Bong County. Now, what are the other factors at play? You now have Gonglo in the race, who also picked his running mate from Bong. So they're going to take some of the votes away,
Hmm.
which now limits uh, the amount of votes that Mr. Taylor can bring to the table. We go to Basso. I gave Boyka 30%. I gave Cummings 30%. I gave Weah 20%. I gave Boyka 30%, and Cummings 30. Cummings 30. Let me begin with 30. Cummings 30 because of the what's her name? His VP,
Charlie
Charlotte.
Brodsky.
Yeah.
Charlene Bromskin factor. But I didn't get him 35 or 40 because of the limitations that Charlene Bronston, the appeal, the limited appeal I believe Charlene has there. And also the fact that you have Yumbly there as well. So I split that up with them. And then I gave, that's Basso, I gave we at 20%. Of course, projected turnout in my view will be 75%. Why do I have 75%? Because the last two elections they were at 73% or 74%. So I bumped them up with the enthusiasm level to 75%. And I believe that will win heavily in the southeast,
Oh
but
yeah, obvious. Yeah.
here's the point: the entire southeast, one, two, three, four, five, the five counties in the southeast, the total number of registered voters is 269,057 votes. Now,
And that's less than Nima County.
that's less than Nimba. That's less than Nimba County. That's very close to Bon County. So really, if you take the votes in Nimba that Boaka is likely to gain from the Prince Johnson and Jeremiah Kuhn factor, if you take the Lofa votes, and if you take whatever they win from Bombing or whatever, that covers the entire spread in the Southeast, assuming that George Weah wins 100% in the Southeast, which again is unlikely. That's how, putting all of these numbers together, I was able to arrive at my prediction that Boaka will come close to winning 50% plus more. Now, it's not exact science, So it can fluctuate. It's a prediction, but those are some of the factors that are put into it.
And let me comment quickly because from what we've seen so far with President Weah's trip to the southeast, which has not been favorable, he had
Yep.
to fly helicopter. The place is incommutable, put it that way. We know of many of the precincts there that didn't have the opportunity to cast the ballots yet. So that in itself is something to consider. But we saw where people said they wanted the rescue team
Hmm.
in
Oh yeah,
places.
in Southtown, yeah.
So that in itself is
Yep.
another flag to consider. So again, great prediction. We'd like to thank you, Alfonso, with the following. We have not been able to follow through here tonight. As you can see, I have the tablet here, right here, and these
Yeah.
are the guys within Spoon Network, but I've not been able to listen to them to see how things are. Someone just asked, have the results been announced yet? Come on, you just had elections 2 hours ago. People sitting on the ground counting with their finger and with flashlight. You think you're gonna have results? These results will not be out maybe almost toward the end of the week.
Yep.
I would predict toward the end of the week, uh, and let's hope that uh, these elections are free, fair, and credible, as being observed. When I was at one of the precincts today, there were folks from the United States Embassy, USAID, who were, especially that precinct I talked about on GSA Road, uh, that had the largest crowd of the precincts that we visited today. I saw EU observers, I saw AU observers, and then there were political parties observers at these locations, and also Algia sent
Oh yeah, in
representation.
first could have made mention of
we,
that. Yeah.
we are hopeful that the preliminary counts coming rather so far from some of the precincts, and what these guys have done, meaning Spoon Network in collaboration with Punch FM, they've been able to not just focus on Montserrat, but they've been
Around the
receiving
country.
yeah, results from precincts or with specific places coming across the country. And from the optics and what we see so far, again, it is fair and clear to predict that Mr. Boycott is in the lead. Now, again, these are preliminary predictions. They are not all set in stone from the National Elections Commission, but we can make any early prediction yet. I have resolved to say that we want to be tight-lipped about making any prediction,
Yeah.
but miracles can
The
happen,
number, yeah, miracles.
turn
Miracles.
around,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
Uh, but let's hope that the Liberian people have done what they had to do, uh, and let the counts come out with what the results will be. That is my position. And as we wind down this broadcast tonight, we've already covered 1.5 hour. There's
Mhm.
not much to talk about. Someone is asking me about Cyril Yanti Beslow from Pinsway. You already covered
So
Cyril.
what? I'm sorry for what for Pinsway. The one the bro as well represent our city mayor.
City
Yes, it,
Mayor.
yeah. But no,
Well,
um,
man, they can't
No,
put
no,
our
the
sister
message
down
she
like
from
that, man.
Pittsville. She from
Oh,
Pittsville,
okay.
Volcano. So take it
yeah,
easy with her. Now,
yeah,
right?
yeah. We'll be back.
Yeah, I mean, she will make a good mayor though.
Now, our Pittsville sister, take it easy with her.
So,
Yeah.
so, gentlemen, let me quickly do this before
Pardon.
we go forward. I know, we're running out of time. It's been a long day. We have to continue to monitor these numbers, and you
Yeah.
know, maybe we might be able to do a broadcast before Friday,
Mhm.
just to
Oh
quickly
yeah. Mhm.
give a synopsis. But I'd like to hopefully get to memory lane. And if you wanted to say something, say it quick so we can cover memory lane because Dr. Sumo has written something that coincides with this day. So I believe it would just be prudent that I go with memory lane. Am I right?
Yeah. Go
Yes,
ahead.
yes, yes.
Okay. So If you just joining us, welcome to our 191st broadcast here. This broadcast goes down in history as the post elections broadcast. And written here is a memory lane by Dr. Mani Sumo, and it's titled, I Have a Question. I have a question. I am surprised, very surprised, so very surprised for the way and manner in which you treated me. I'm sad, very sad, so sad indeed to hear the worst things you say about me. Since we've been friends, I have shown you nothing but respect. When I created Memory Lane 3 years ago, I respectfully invited you to join me, but you go around telling people that I created Memory Lane for woman business. But each time I'm having a program or celebrating any occasion, I always invite you and give you a front row seat. But you're always doing things to me like I am a nobody. You took my name all around telling people all kinds of things about me just because I decided to ask you a question, and a simple question for that matter. But I do not care anymore for what you are doing to me. I will still ask you my question. For this one question business, you made my friends turned their backs on me. I
Hmm.
took your complaint to Joseph Human Black Eye. I was surprised to see him sit and sleep on me. When he woke up, he changed the topic and reminded me how we were schoolmates at the United Pentecostal Mission School in Bombing Hills. But people will find it hard to believe because of the disparity in our ages and that he was only a vice president. So he told me to carry my complaint to Ellen Johnson Sirleaf since she was the president. I took the complaint to President Sirleaf, but she too brushed me off and said she was busy taking revenge on the Liberian people for killing President Talbot. So I should wait for Opong to become president. When Opong became president, I took my complaint to him. But amazingly, Opong brought a Ludo board and invited me to play with him. From there, he took me to the studio.
To
He
make
reminded
music.
me that you are my own friend and only the house can sell you before the street buys you. I felt disappointed. But I do not care anymore. You have spoiled my name enough now. Even my children do not respect me because, or rather, anymore because of what you did to me. I lost the trust and respect my wife had for me because of what you did. I lost a promotion at work because of what you did to me. I lost some good friends all because of what you did to me. I'm suffering all of this humiliation because of you. But I will ask my question, and my question is, how much is one cup of rice in your area? But I have been happy lately, so happy, very, very happy indeed, that despite your attempt to take away my prestige, you cannot take away my vote. I've been so happy, so very happy when I heard about the elections in Liberia. So, as you vote today, of course, people have voted. Please vote wise. Please vote your future. And please vote Liberia. I come in peace. And this is the memory lane here reading by Amani Sumo titled, I Have a Question.
Thank you, Dr. Sumo. Another good piece, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a good writer.
and he said he will continue to ask the question no matter what.
I like
I
his
think that's
creativity. Yeah.
that's powerful. Yeah,
And
So,
then,
gentlemen,
as you were reading Volcano, it just reminded me about, he said, "You, my friend, here you go." When I started this, he started telling people because I was doing this,
yeah. For woman
because
business.
I was doing it because I wanted a woman. I was trying to attract women, to me. And honestly, what he wrote it reflects the doing of some of our colleagues. When you honor take initiative, they just misinterpret the whole or he's doing it because he wants to be popular, or he's doing it because he's doing it for a selfish reason. I think that's a message that Dr. Dr. Sumo was trying to convey. Yeah. And that's very common with our community. I don't know if you guys have noticed that with some of our people in the community.
So as it is right now, Moses is
Mhm.
12:30. We need to
Oh
continue
yeah,
to watch
you got
Spoon Network to see
yeah.
what was are. And
Hmm.
again, we want to thank everyone. We had a great show tonight. We
Hmm.
review, some of the things. And what type of country is this that you go to a precinct to vote and you're looking on the wall for your name? And somebody say, you better go low on the dumper, the paper over
They
there.
throw everything away. Oh.
And you see voters all in the building scavenging, looking for
Yeah.
the, the voter roll to see the names on the. What type of country is this?
What type of country is the volcano?
But what type
That
of country is this, Moses? That right next to the lines, the queue, the dumper say Yemi right here. The people put their nose and standing in that sun all day just to
and said
vote.
they will vote.
They will vote. No matter the poo send, no matter the dumper send, will vote. What type of country is this?
Yeah, you said something. What type of country is this? That on the voting day, one of the hopefuls decided to fee the electorates at a particular precinct.
Oh,
While the people were in a queue, he told people to cook food and carry for them.
oh, who
Is
there?
that normal?
Hmm.
That's
What
not normal. You can't do
what
that.
what type of country is this
That's inducement.
that people stand in line all day to go vote? They get into the place and you tell them, "Oh, we already checked
Yeah,
your
we
name.
close. Yeah, we
Your
check your
name
name.
is already checked. That means you already voted."
He said, "No, my man." He said, "No, my man, you were here. Yeah, yeah. We check your name."
We check your name. I dare come in. How you check my name,
He
huh?
said, "No, my man. Yeah, the people here. Where your name? Moses sent you." He said, "But man, I said, you see the check mark."
You see they check my hair.
But Adia almost says, yeah, what type of country is this that
Yeah.
you go to a precinct as early as 2 a.m.
Can you
and
imagine?
still you never got to vote?
Yeah, man.
What type of country is
Is
this?
this?
And
And
the
Yeah.
look,
reason why you never got to vote is not because you were there, you got tired, you went, you found
Yeah.
something to eat,
But you're
you
still
came back
there.
and stayed to the same place. You say, okay, let me go run and get one cold bottle of beer. You got by the time the cold bottle of beer took cold when you got back.
They said,
It
"My
was,
man, you little."
yeah.
part of the problem too, guys. I think election commission did a very poor job. I think
Yeah,
Unity
commission
Party
was
took them to the
unprepared.
Supreme Court based upon that. The law says you cannot have more than 3,000 people at a precinct and no more than 500 in a polling place. I don't understand why people were fighting and scrambling in lines with those long queues today. Because if they have posted a list, Volcano don't need to go and join that whole long line, enter the building before he goes to his place. You just say polling place number 4. Yeah, yeah, your line here. Polling place number 5. Yeah, your line. Polling place, and it would have been easier. But
Very.
yeah, they never did. When they were asking them to post the final voter roll at places, that was what it was intended to do. Again, they never did. So it created all of this confusion today.
But
But
my man,
yeah,
we are in the 21st century. Man, you tell me, Volcano, you go to a prison and you have to literally look at a wall to identify your name. Why did they give these people voter registration card? All you need to ask for a photo ID, your voter card, and they take the roll and say, "Oh, your Volcano shelter? Yes." Compare your information with what is on the roll.
But listen, one of the guys who went in the center
Yeah.
said that some people who were not literate enough
Mm-hmm.
just went places, right? And they went flipping through to get
Yeah,
name, but they have spent almost 15, 20 minutes in the wrong place.
yeah. Hey,
Nobody
man.
followed them to the next place. And
Mm-hmm.
then they literally went to the next place again. It was still the wrong
It
place.
was still the
Yep.
wrong place.
Flipped
Yep.
through, they didn't see their
Yep.
name, they started to panic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all of that helped to delay things in the
It didn't
beginning.
know
That
process.
is why
Exactly.
the line was extremely stagnant.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That is why the line was stagnant. And a lot of folks didn't really provide the support to those first time voters. A lot of folks didn't really provide the support to the folks who were barely literate. Not everyone was able to understand the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
process and follow
Exactly.
it through. And so that's why you had some of these things
That
happening.
is true. That is true. But that's why they have Q. They're supposed to have Q monitors or Q
Yes.
controllers, however they refer.
Controllers,
So as
and
soon as Volcano gets
organized.
there,
Yeah.
you got a list in your hand. What your
Yeah.
name? Volcano,
What's
let
her
me see
name?
your card.
Yeah.
Oh no, get in that
Yeah.
line. But
Yeah.
Moses Sandy, yeah, that
Yeah.
line
Go
over there.
no. Yeah.
That's
You know.
again, if NEC was
Simple.
prepared, they would have dealt with some of those things. Because the fact that a lot of Liberian can read is not something new. We already know it. So we should have queue monitors to direct these people to their places. I hope they make the improvement in the future for
And
future.
one of the examples I gave, even during my commentary,
Mhm.
I am very literate. But
Yep.
when you're traveling through some of these international airports and you have a connecting flight, you
Oh,
don't
it
have the
can be
time to
crazy.
be
Yeah.
politically correct. You're gonna
Yeah.
have somebody out there. You're gonna ask if you see someone in the TSS uniform
Exactly.
Yeah.
or
That's how you do it.
military
Yeah.
uniform. The time you take to go look on monitor and be confused, you just say,
You
"My
missed
man,
their flight.
Yes. This my flight. Yeah. You know,
you
I
know,
don't have time to
please
be
show
tracking no
me,
monitor.
yeah, please show me where gate 10 is." And you go running to gate
Yeah.
10, and then you look around it. Then you will see, yes, this is where your flight is, and this is where you're gonna be, leaving the airport from. So it's the same thing like in these elections. People should have been volunteers who will help people
Mhm.
quickly to go through the process, and some places could have had the 3,000 people come through by 2 o'clock. That
Yeah.
would have provided them the ample time to
Yep.
Yes.
count those ballots and
Mm-hmm.
be able to present it.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you
On
want to
time.
wait, till 6 p.m.,
Before you
then
start
it's
counting.
not,
Yeah.
no, 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 you're not counting. Stop it. You're
Oh.
not. You still have the remnants on the line.
Oh. Okay.
You have
Yeah.
to stop them. So by the time you get to count, it's about 8, it's about 9, then you there sitting with flashlight on top of you.
Can you
Most
imagine that,
of
my
these
man?
things would have happened better if they were to orderly plan it. But
Absolutely.
gentlemen, good to see you guys. Let me catch
Yep.
the night.
I know,
It's been
Yeah.
man.
a lot of
Yeah,
things.
my
Yeah.
And
man. You need to rest.
A lot of
We'll
sacrifice,
catch up.
bro.
Thank you so much,
A lot
Volcano.
of sacrifice.
Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
great
Get
job. We
some
really
sleep.
appreciate
Yeah.
it. Enjoy your evening, my man. We'll catch up on Friday by God's grace.
God's grace. So let's continue to follow these numbers. We'll be
Yeah,
talking off the record.
yeah.
Again, I want to
And then
thank
we come.
everyone for joining us here tonight. Uh, thank you so much. It was a wonderful day as it is right now. We have not seen or heard anything. The only thing that I saw a reporter on Spoon, Diamond Slanger, the anchor,
Mhm.
whose studio said that some of the people in the is Congo Town area around the station said they saw men,
Yeah.
circling,
Hmm.
hanging around, dragging around, you
Yeah.
know, looked like ER or EPS or whatever they
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
screaming
EPS.
EPS.
transaction.
Yeah.
So let's just hope that
Yeah.
folks. I mean, the people went to the polls. They didn't fight there.
Hmm.
They stood the test of time. You can't change the situation.
You
No.
can.
Change the situation. Just let it be and let the counts continue. These reports coming through Spoon is not the end of the day yet. Uh, NEC will make its final,
Yeah. Pronouncement. Yeah.
announcement. So let's not go there with anything to create any kind of chaos. Again, gentlemen, have a good night. We'll catch up as soon as we can in the coming days.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
See you
guys.
soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good night.